Hi, and welcome back to the channel. We have a box to open, and it did arrive in this condition. When I see a box that shows up like that, I get a little worried. It is rather beat up. Let's open it up and see if it survived. Another thing, it has been taped all the way down around the perimeter, but yet it's already been cut. So this box has been opened before and retaped. So we got a cord, 3 Allen wrenches, and a truss rod tool. That's different. No styrofoam, no nothing, just a gig bag. Feels like there's a little bit of padding on it. And for the moment of truth. Okay. Let's set that right there. I have never played one of these guitars. I have looked at them and looked at them and looked at them, but they were always so expensive I didn't want to buy that type of guitar for that kind of money and then find that I didn't like it. And we have a silica pet shoved under the strings. I guess you would pronounce this Volga. I'm not too sure how you pronounce that. And it is a headless guitar. 5-piece neck. Now, what got me on this is an HPL fingerboard. I don't know if that's some kind of, if that's a plastic, is it like an epoxy? Not really too sure. It is different. I guess you kind of, and it's in tune. Sort of in tune. It feels more comfortable on me than I thought it would. And something I'm seeing here is when I'm sitting like this, the jack is there. Well, I guess if you sat like that, it wouldn't be, that could be a potential problem. Let's put it on our little bench here and let's give it a full review, just as we do every guitar. Okay, got the guitar up on our little stand here. I guess the first thing we should look at, exact same thing we always do, just kind of look over the guitar and see how the fit and finish is. And since that box was so tore up and retaped and taped and taped, I'm assuming that this was probably a returned product. I ordered it because it had 21% off. That's a real weird amount on Amazon, 21%. And that brought the price of the guitar down to $199 after tax. So let's really give it a once over. And again, I'm looking at the body through the light. And there seems to be some smudges. They do wipe off, so it has definitely been fingered before. The neck pocket right here looks nice. It's different. I don't know if you can see that right there. That seems strange to me. Maybe it's okay. I'm not too sure. Looking down the neck for any dents or dings. I'm not seeing any spots on the neck. I don't see any spots on the guitar as far as dings. It has a nice detail here. It almost creates like a binding since they laminate this burl top on top and then they sand this edge. It gives it a nice little detail. That's pretty. I like that. The routes for the pickups, they're pretty sharp. So when the machine comes down, it's a direct 90 degree. There's no relief in the bore for the pickups. But it is done well. I don't see any chipping. It is done well. And the truss rod adjustment is down here. I'm starting to like that. That's kind of cool. Let's check our switch. And the switch is very jiggly. Yeah, doesn't feel too good. As far as the pots, compared to other guitars on the channel, I'd say this is one of the worst pots. It has a little scratchiness, about 40%, and then it gets smooth. And that makes me wonder if maybe the knob is down too far on the body and it's scratching the body. This knob is doing it as well. Not the greatest. Let's look at our hardware here. This looks like a roller bridge. Looks like there's little brass rollers in here. And I'm not truly understanding how this bridge works. String goes over the roller, but I see part of the string on this drum right there. I see it wrapped around the drum. That may be something that I need to learn how to do, is how you put strings on this thing. But the hardware looks nice. I don't see any scratches. I don't see any spots in the hardware. And this one, the end of the string is on the top. That's kind of neat. Most of them I've seen, you put the ball in here, you go up and then you tighten it with an Allen wrench, much like a locking nut. And there ends up being like little pieces of string sticking out that you can stab people with. I kind of like that. Since we're going over fit and finish, the fret feel is definitely polished. The frets feel really smooth. And the fingerboard feels hard. If you like an ebony fingerboard, something very hard and polished feeling, you'd probably like this neck. As far as the end of the frets, there's no problems there. This has the ball end frets. Super smooth. But this fingerboard, it almost feels like a piece of glass. Kind of like that. I guess I'll know more when I actually play it. But it feels glass smooth. There's a little finishing compound inside the screws here. It needs to be wiped out. The neck pocket itself looks like it's sitting pretty good. I don't see any funny gaps here where they've shimmed the neck. Pickups are sitting in the guitar flat true. They're not sitting in some kooky angle from the factory. These strap buttons look like a standard medium-sized strap button. Black hardware. All in all, I would say the fit and finish on the guitar is good. I'm not seeing anything wonky. The chamfer that's done here versus the amount of burl, the only thing I see is here you can see it's about a 1/16, maybe, maybe 3/32 there, and it switches over to a 1/16 here where they've sanded more on this horn. You can see it's a little thicker there, but that's being very picky. And it does it here as well. And if you look at it this way, you can see that they've sanded, they've chamfered a little less here than more. I think that's okay though. That's just being really, really super picky. It feels flush to the touch. I don't feel anything strange. Okay, now we're going to go through, we're going to check the neck, check our frets, check our electronics. Okay, I have the guitar up on the bench. I've plugged my tuner in. Something I noticed, the jack feels strange plugging the, it's hard to explain. It gets about, doesn't really click in. It just kind of like, I don't know. When we open up the cavity, we're definitely going to have to see what's going on. I've never felt a jack like that. There's no click. You really have to push it in. It would never fall out, but it feels very peculiar. So now we're going to check our open E. We're going to check our intonation and our first fretted note. That's pretty good. Check our 12th here. And the intonation on the E is high. Let's check our first fretted note. That is probably the best first fretted note I've ever seen to this point on a stock guitar. And I'm going to contribute that to this guitar uses a 0 fret. So it should be very good. Let's check our A. There we go. A 12th. And the A 12th is high. First fretted note. Yeah, the first fretted note on this guitar is going to be good due to the 0 fret. There's our D. The D is pretty close on the 12th. First fretted note. G on our 12th. That's pretty good. First fretted note. That's pretty good as well. Let's check our B. B on the 12th. That one's really good. First fretted note on the B. Again, good. Check our high E. The intonation's pretty good there too. First fretted note. Yeah, this guitar, I think if you went through and fine-tuned the intonation, this little bit that it's out on the first fretted note would disappear. But like I said, this guitar first fretted notes are really good. And I'm going to contribute that to the 0 fret design that the guitar has. And that's this. It's actually using a fret. And it locks the string in by these grooves. This is a great little design. I like that. So now I'm going to reposition the camera. We're going to check the relief on the neck and check our frets. Okay, reposition the camera so we can get a better view of the guitar neck. I have my tool. And I'm going to say that this is a 25.5. And it is. So let's see what we got here. There is just a little bit of relief. It's ever so slight. It's less than half a millimeter of relief. But it does have a little bit there. So let's go through and check our frets. Now I'm going to go into squirrel mode as I check them. We'll go out of squirrel mode if I find a bad fret. And I'm going to start on the 0 fret. Since this is a 0 fret, I'm literally going to use the fret rocker on the first fret, the 0 fret. And our second fret, or third fret in this guitar case, we have some rocking. Again. So this fret right here is high. And right there we have just a little bit. And right there. And right there. So half of this fret right here is just a fraction high. And right there, it's just a little bit, but there is just a little bit of rock right there. And right there, just a little bit. So right here, right dead center, it's very, very slight though. If I saw that on a customer's guitar, I would bring it up, but it's not something that I would repair. Unless they said they wanted it perfect. Okay, so I found a spot here, here, and here. Half a fret, one spot here, and 2 spots down here on the same fret. 2 spots here, 1 spot on this fret, and then half of this fret. All those spots were just barely there. Like I said, I wouldn't fix these 3 areas unless the customer said they wanted it spot on, or if it was causing a buzz going super low on the action. This fret here though, that is a fret that I would fix. and I wouldn't necessarily bring it up to the customer. That one is so bad, I would just say, hey, you have one bad fret. It needs to be, resolved. Don't bring it up to the customer, make a big deal out of it. It's one fret. Just say, I'm going to fix one fret. This one has a little bit of rock to it. I don't know if you can hear that. So one bad fret. All in all, that's not too bad. Now let's go through with our StewMac action gauge, and let's see what the factory has set this guitar up at. And I am really bad for influencing the strings with this hand, so I'm going to try to do this without influencing the strings. On our 12th. This guitar is set up at 0.07 on the low E. And our high E is 0.06. So that's pretty standard. Pretty standard setup. It's not super high, not super low. That's pretty standard for guitar companies. They want it high enough to where they know they're not going to have an issue, but it's not so high where it's going to make the guitar unplayable. So I'd say that's pretty good. I would prefer it down just a little bit, maybe 0.6 on the 0.06 on the low E and 0.05 on the high E. But just noodling with it feels fine. Like I said, that's a pretty average setup. So I'd call that good. Okay. Now we're going to open up the back of the guitar here and see what's inside. So I'm going to move the camera. Okay, we have the guitar flipped over. Let's see what's in the cavity. Well, I really want to see this jack. Yeah, it's some kind of barrel jack. This feels very strange. That would be something that, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know if I could get used to the way that feels when that plugs in. The soldering work in here looks rather rough. Wow, look at that joint there. Let me pull that up closer to the camera so you can look at that. That is pretty rough looking. And here, they've soldered it here, and then this end is just kind of sticking up. And what can end up happening there is, since that's sharp right there, the wiring over the ears can rub against that. I mean, I don't know. That to me should have been cut off with a pair of flush clip nips. So it's yeah. And these are the little teeny weeny pots. And it looks like, I'm trying to see what we got there. The camera's in the way. I'm not seeing 4 wires coming out of the pickups. So they must have joined the coils at the pickup, and you can't easily do a coil tap on this guitar without going into the pickup cavity themselves. I don't know. To me, it looks a little sloppy in there. And like I said, these pots felt, scratchy feeling. We're going to double check the knobs and make sure that the knobs aren't rubbing the body. Okay. Okay, I flipped the guitar over here, and we're going to look at these knobs. These knobs have a grub screw. So I have my 2mm Kelvin, and we're going to check and see if that scratchiness is being caused by the knobs setting too low. So I'm going to lift them up a little bit, make sure they're clear in the body. They didn't even really feel tight. I got that one adjusted. I'm just lifting them up a little bit from the body. And that one wasn't tight as well. Now let's check them. It helped. They're much smoother now. I'd say they're okay as far as smoothness now. That's not too bad. This switch though is very jiggly. I don't know if you can see that. I'm going to pull it up here. There's a lot of jiggle to that switch. And that, in my opinion, that's excessive. So this switch isn't that good. And the engagement, it's really quick to pop out. You barely touch it and it moves. So I'm not a big fan of the switch. So let's plug the guitar into the amplifier and see what it sounds like. And we can also check how well the volume and tone knobs work. Okay, I have the guitar plugged into my rack equipment. We're playing through an Applied Research SGX 2000. And we're going to check our volume and our tone knobs and see how linear they are. So right now we're completely off. I'm going to turn the volume all the way up, and I'm going to do about 20%. Turn, 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 and we'll see how it responds. And now I'm going to gradually turn the volume from full blast down without stopping. I would say there's more below 50%. At 50% it drops off pretty quick.
big drop off right at the end. So that's our volume. Let's check the tone pipe. Right there is where I hear a difference. That's all the way down. They both work. I would say they're more sensitive below 50%. The neck feels amazing on this guitar. It is just butter smooth. Plays very well. Okay, let's see what this thing sounds like. We're going to go bridge position. Everything's turned all the way up. Center position, both pickups. Neck position. The guitar seems to have a really nice sound in the bridge position. The neck pickup seems to be a little dark. And our tone is all the way up. Bridge. Neck. Bridge. And you'd think you'd get like a 50-50, but in the center position it still sounds very dark. It almost sounds like you've rolled the tone off as soon as you put the neck position in. That's exactly what it sounds like. It sounds like the neck sounds like the tone has been turned way down. But the bridge pickup sounds great. Okay, what are my final thoughts on this headless guitar? The guitar just really plays amazing. This HPL fingerboard, I'm really impressed with it. I've never played a guitar with this type of fingerboard. It is just, between the fingerboard and the frets, it's just glass smooth. It truly plays amazing. The fit and finish on the guitar is also really good. We only found one issue on the fit and finish, and that's literally right there in the neck pocket. This sticks out just a little bit. And like I said, it's not a big deal to me. I think if they would have just brought this contour, relieved this contour just a little bit more, they could have resolved that 1/16 of an inch there. But that's being very picky. The issue I'm having with the guitar is the electronics. The jack feels very strange. It doesn't click in, it just kind of compresses in and gets tight. There's no lock. I don't think it would ever fall out, but it's very peculiar feeling. The switch feels very cheap. The tone and the volume knob have a drastic fall off on the end. The bridge pickup sounds good. I think this guitar would be a good candidate for a tone bleed on the bridge pickup. Knock off some of that edge. The problem I think is in this bridge pickup. I don't know if it's the pickup or if they have it wired out of phase. But as soon as you go to the center position, it gets a very nasally sound. And then just on the neck, it sounds like the tone has been rolled off. That would be one of those things I would have to go a little deeper in the guitar to figure out. But there's definitely something going on with the bridge pickup. But overall, for the price point on this guitar, the way it plays, you could buy this guitar, swap the pickups, and put nice pots on it, CTS pots and a Switchcraft switch. You can do that for $200 and still have a $400 guitar. Maybe $450 if you really went overboard. And you would have an awesome instrument. This thing really plays well. This is the first headless guitar I've had the opportunity to play, and right now I'm kind of enamored with it. It plays that good. Anyway, if you've bought one of these guitars and had a completely different experience with it, leave some comments down below. Let us know how your guitar came. And if you have any questions that you think I might be able to answer, you can leave them down below as well. And if you would, please hit the like button and consider subscribing. When I see that subscriber count go up, I know that I'm doing the content and the videos that you all want to see. Anyway, thank you for clicking on this video.